Hello, crypto community. Jeff Kurdakis here, coming off some really eventful past couple days. As I'm sure we've all been bombarded with, Libra, Facebook's coin, has just announced that they've released their white paper, they've released their code on GitHub. And in fact, it's not just Facebook behind this coin, but it's also a huge consortium of a plethora of monolithic companies. We have PayPal, we have MasterCard, we have Uber, we have Lyft. What else do we have here? I think we have Stripe on there as well. Notable, however, is that Apple and Amazon are not on this consortium. So I'm going to be diving into that in a little bit here. First, I want to touch on some macro trends that are happening in crypto and gold as well, really interestingly enough. So as Libra launched, we're starting to see that, okay, maybe nation state backed currencies are not the foundation of our global economy anymore. We had backing by gold that was abolished in the United States around like in the 70s. And so that has transformed the way that money has been seen. And now this government currency is backed by thin air. A lot of people say it's backed by the power of the military. So to me, that's not really value. And that's up for subjective opinion. I'm going to try to be objective as I possibly can in this stream here. I know I like to go on tangents every now and then. But the main thing that's happening now is we saw the launch of Libra, and in tandem with that, Bitcoin and gold's price both went up quite drastically. Gold is actually starting to come to some highs that since 2012, it was at some like pretty high highs, but since then it's been skipping around, and we're touching those most recent all-time highs that have been sustained through since 2012. So not all-time highs, but highs that are just using as a pretty normal resistance level. So Libra is ushering in, okay, these currencies that we've been using in the government probably not going to be around forever. There are alternatives. People are starting to hedge to gold, to Bitcoin, seeing Libra as a viable option. This is super, super interesting. This is a massive new shift in the way that our world sees finance. Tony comments, "Oh my God, hair, it's growing out." I'm more of a Bali living guy. Right now I'm in Canada for a bit, but this is the Bali hairstyle. Get used to it, guys. It's gonna get a lot longer than this. I'll try to keep it under control as long as I can, though. So one thing that people are a little bit confused about in Libra, especially the people who are new, you can't invest in Libra. So this is a stable coin. It's backed by a basket of different assets. So we have different government currencies and a whole bunch of different things. You can check out their white. They have their white paper, their technical white paper, some documentation. Just throw it in on Google. Some good reason there. Exactly what it's all backed by. Also, some controversy going around Libra is this a cryptocurrency? So again, definitions can be open to interpretation, and we have to agree on a certain definition. So to pull the definition from potentially the most agreed upon one, which is Webster's dictionary, again, that's a centralized choice, but it's maybe the most reputable centralized choice, is any form of currency that exists only digitally, that usually has no central issuing or regulating authority, but instead uses a decentralized system to record transactions and manage the issuance of new units. And that relies on cryptography to prevent counterfeiting and fraudulent transactions. So the big thing in here is that it states that is not, has no central issuing or regulating authority. And I'm going to dive into this a little bit more when we cover kind of the bad aspects of Libra, but very much Libra is controlled by a central authority. So that essentially negates its ability to be considered a cryptocurrency. And I'll explain a little bit more in detail on what I mean by it's controlled by central authority. But first, let's go into the good, because there are a lot of benefits to Libra. And I think a lot of people have been really riding this train that's easy to hop on. Everyone's just hating on Libra. It's not a crypto. It's the antithesis. Hate it. Die. It should die. It's all the wrong things with cryptocurrency. And I don't know, there's validity to that for sure. It's on the opposite end of the spectrum of Bitcoin. It's very centralized. It is not. It's a permission system, and so I can understand there's a lot of hatred for it. However, it's ushering in a lot of eyeballs into the cryptocurrency space. You look at I think it's 2 billion monthly users on Facebook now are going to be exposed to the word cryptocurrency. It's going to be highlighting the fact that, you know what? We've created a solution because we see a problem. That problem is our current structure is not correct. The way that our world does finance is broken. We have, Swift bank transfers, $40 take weeks to happen. The massive fees, massive times, epic middlemen. It's an archaic system, and Facebook is saying this is broken, and we're here to fix it. And so people are like, okay, well, how are you fixing it? Well, we're introducing a cryptocurrency. What's cryptocurrency? They find out there's a massive ecosystem. Right now, the global adoption of cryptocurrency is far below 1%. The way that I like to think about it is, how many people use Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency for that matter for day-to-day payments, or even, you could say like transactions, not just transactions on a financial aspect, but in terms of smart contracts or games or dApps, anything like that. It's far below 1% globally. It could be 0.001% likely. So we have such a long way to go, and people still need to become educated about cryptocurrency. The West has started to catch on. We have Japan, Korea. They're also in the flow as well, Europe, but there's a lot to come up here. And so I think this the Libra, this consortium is really going to show that, yes, there is an alternative to the way that we're doing things. And this is a first step. So let's dive into it. What the good around Libra. So what it is going to do, its main mission is simple. It's built to transfer fast payments for low fees within countries and across borders. So like I said, a massive evolution from Swift. And this one was from DataDash. She's saying that they want to replace Visa and MasterCard, and that if you can't beat them, join them. High fees are not going to work. So Visa and MasterCard are on the consortium, and Visa, MasterCard, they charge 3% in fees every time you use a transaction. With Libra, that's not going to be the case at all. So I find this very interesting, and I'm curious to know the angle that Visa and MasterCard are going on with Libra, because it's very much that ethos. If you can't beat them, join them. They don't have a better solution, so they need to hop on to this consortium. Another good about Libra is that it is open source. So that means all the code is on GitHub. You can check it out, and developers can build on top of this. So it's not so much just like a singleton payment gateway. You could say, like, I know Bitcoin, for example. I know some people say, well, Bitcoin could be smart contract compatible, for sure. But Libra is meant to be more so of, you could say, an Ethereum-esque style thing where different applications can be built on top. It's open source. So that's kind of cool. And then, as we mentioned before, just the mass adoption, or at least mass awareness, and this baby steps towards mass adoption is another really good benefit of Libra coming into the ecosystem. So it's going to facilitate transfers for people. I feel like a lot of us have the privilege to be choosy with our ideologies, where we can say, you know what, this isn't the greatest, it's not fully decentralized, blah, 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 blah. But you know what, when you look at it, like you have an immigrant, let's say, and they're a refugee from Syria or some war-torn country, or then they're working here and they're trying to send money to their family in another country. I think it's crazy that we now have, through Libra or through Bitcoin, the ability to send money without paying, 10% to Western Union. And for me, and especially for these guys, the easier it's going to be, the better for them. Bitcoin still isn't that user-friendly, unfortunately, and Libra will be. They're trying to make it as easy as sending a messenger on or a message on Messenger. So I think that's fantastic, and I think there's a place for this in the ecosystem where people can use it. And I think anyone who kind of poo-poos on it is just really privileged to be able to have that opinion, because cryptocurrency is really about utility when it's needed, and an easy user interface is something that's really necessary. All right, so now going into the bad. So there's a good amount here, but I'll dive in just right away. So mentioned earlier how consensus is formed on Libra. Consensus is formed through a permissioned system. So what that means is, when you look at Bitcoin, you have a bunch of miners, anyone can be a miner on Bitcoin. You can set up some miners, you can join a pool, you can run as an independent. That's cool. Anyone can mine, anyone can validate transactions. On Libra, however, you need to be putting in $10 million and essentially be invited in. And that's what, PayPal, MasterCard, these guys have all put in $10 million so they can join and become a validator node. So it's very much a permission system. Now they say that they're going to turn permissionless. How much do we believe Facebook? I forget what year it was, but Mark Zuckerberg did one, and I'm sure countless interviews where he stated, we're never going to sell your data. This is just for you, for your family. And that's exactly what they're saying with Libra. They say it's pseudo-anonymous. What does that even mean, Mark and company? So I have no faith in these half-assed promises. And again, when we're talking about Facebook, centralized control, we're talking about censorship too. And this money that we're being using on Libra is potentially outside and very likely out of our control. On Bitcoin, nobody can shut down your accounts. Nobody can close down the network unless all the miners just kind of go on strike. On Libra, this can definitely happen. There's nothing stopping them from saying, you know what, your account is closed for XYZ reason. PayPal does it all the time. And this is just a reality that's gonna very much come into play. So, and pseudo-anonymous, because I believe, are they trying to use KYC? Now, this is slipping my mind. Someone jump in the comments if they're needing KYC. In any case, it's would be hilarious if they did, because they have more data on you than your KYC already. But it's nuts. Something that I find interesting now is that Congress has been trying to slow down Facebook's progress. So they're saying, you know what, just stop developing this. We need to kind of figure out what you guys are doing and regulate it. And I think we're at a really cool time now where technology is outpacing regulations. We're starting to outpace the speed of all this black and red tape that politicians are putting up. And like I said, we're moving from, I see it like on a macro scale, I think we're moving from, you could say, government controlled society into company or corporate controlled society. Now, is this a positive or negative? That's up for debate, but I think it's something that's very realistic. Now you can look at SpaceX, you can look at Blue Origin. These are two companies that are going to the moon. I think Virgin as well, Virgin Galactic. There are three companies who are going to the moon, who are exploring Mars and really going into this space exploration, or launching satellites. Governments aren't really doing this anymore. They're becoming old and archaic, and going into decentralized autonomous organizations, that's a whole nother conversation in itself. But it's gonna be very interesting to see how the shift of power really transfers. And I think Congress trying to slow down Facebook, Libra, is really interesting, because I don't know how they intend to do this. They're based in Switzerland, so I mean, good luck slowing them down. In terms of slowing down, though, Russia, really recently, the headline was Russia to adopt digital currencies within 2 weeks. Facebook coin kicked out. Let's see what was this on? This was on, okay, it was from on Uptrend. I just linked it from. But so Russia is going to be legalizing digital assets, which I think is a really monumental thing. Now, they are not going to be including Facebook coin. So there's going to be more information to follow on this, but I just find it's very interesting how governments can pick and choose what is legal. But again, they can't really stop it. And what the Russian government or authorities said is, you can invest in Facebook coin, but we are not going to host the platform to be able to do that. So just like it's Binance, some aspects of the exchange got kicked out of the US, closing to US investors. They're opening their own US exchange. It'll be the same with Russia, where it's only certain aspects. Or not certain aspects, sorry. The same in Russia, where it's not allowed, but you can still go and do it on your own accord. So kind of to summarize what Libra is all about, and the good and the bad, they're going to be highlighting this to billions of people, some mass awareness. It's a great progressive step away from state-owned currency, high fees, an archaic system, but it's certainly not an ideal final form. Bitcoin is not an ideal final form currently either. It's not scalable. The fees are still high to store value, and you can transfer some value back and forth, but certainly not a peer-to-peer payment system at a grand scale ready yet. Maybe one day it will be. Lightning Network is looking promising, but we're taking baby steps. And so people who have ideologies on it should be free, it should be fast, it should be secure, and it should be decentralized, we do not have a solution that does these four things yet. And you're always going to have to compromise on one. So you could look at fast, free, secure, EOS. You could look at secure, most secure and decentralized, that's Bitcoin. And all these coins, they're doing a really good job of highlighting 2 or 3 aspects of this kind of quad or square or whatever of 4 aspects that are really vital to a currency. Potentially a 5th would be stability too. So Libra is doing a great job of that, obviously. So we're taking baby steps, I guess is what I'm saying. And this is exciting because we're just going one by one. Whoever thinks that we can do it all in one go is just, it's not realistic. And things are going to continue to build on each other. Momentum will build and things are going to continue to progress. And again, we're moving more corporate controlled rather than government controlled. I think that's really interesting times. Daryl says crypto isn't crypto anymore. I'm curious what you mean by that, Daryl, because very much we still have Bitcoin, and it's the same beast as it was on day one. We have more options now, and so people can pick and choose what they want. And so it's very much like a political party. I feel like, excuse the metaphor here, but Bitcoin could have been like a dictatorship where it's like you have one option. This is what you're doing. This is the only crypto possible. And now it's more so not necessarily a democracy because you're not choosing for everybody, but kind of like libertarianism, where you can choose which path you want to go down or choose your own adventure. Like, oh, I like Bitcoin because of XYZ. I like Nano. And you can use whichever coins you want. So crypto is still very much crypto. In fact, it's growing. It's crypto 2.0 now. And I think a really interesting thought is that, we're only touching the global adoption. Nobody's using cryptocurrency yet. This is just such a new infantile space. And we're going to be seeing some massive evolvements. Bitcoin now, we're looking at 9,500. Once we break 10K, it's going to be a flash up to 20. I think, how long did it take last time, guys? I think it took less than 2 weeks, I want to say, maybe potentially less than a week from 10 to 20. And I think that's going to be the exact same case this time, if not even quicker. We already have some great momentum, especially now with Libra, some great regulations. The SEC commissioner is on side with crypto. I always say this, the ceiling is so much higher now for cryptocurrency. When we hit 20,000, we only had so much. And we have built and built and built over the last year and a half. And we have a really, really strong foundation now. Daryl continues his comment. Thanks for the reply, Daryl. The Libra perception, the data going to Facebook, you're dead on point. He says, yeah. And I agree. I think people can subscribe to what they want. We're on Facebook right now. I think we're all concerned or aware of our privacy and wanting to hold that close to us, but we still have subscribed to Facebook because, well, A, all of our friends are here, and B, it's easy to use, and probably C, it's a nice interface. So Libra is going to provide all 3 of those things. And so it's up to us to decide what is crypto and what is not crypto. And I think this is going to be really interesting times. If you're going to be signing up for a Libra account, I'd love to hear it. If you're not, why not? Are you going to be a Bitcoin maximalist till the end? Do you feel that there is space in crypto for all these variances? Chase comments, do you think crypto will have to evolve to only, am I reading this wrong? Do you think crypto will have to evolve to only have a few main ones instead of the thousands that are currently out? In a nutshell, no, because it's so easy to create a cryptocurrency that you could go on Waves right now and create Chase Coin, and boom, it's created. And the fact that you've created Chase Coin does not negate Bitcoin in the least. Or you could compare this to companies in our world. You could look at a giant like Walmart. And just because, mom and pop open up a store next to Walmart, it's not going to take any business away from Walmart. But people will start to flock to what is best for them. And in the case of Walmart, it's cheap, it's easy, it's accessible. And that's what, again, all 3 on Libra. So it's going to be very interesting because people are just going to start to go to what they prefer. I think a lot of us who have been in crypto for a long time, we're not looking for easy. We're not looking for a sexy user interface. We're looking for this ideology, this revolution. Some people are looking for quick profits and swing trading. That's great too. You're still going to get that for years and years to come. It'll be very much something. Crypto is going to be a space where people subscribe to what they want to. There's going to be no impact on having 1,000 coins. There's going to be, I'm sure, millions of cryptocurrencies and millions of applications. We're starting to look at the Internet of Things, the machine-to-machine economy. We have supply chain management. So when we look, if maybe you're talking about payment coins, Chase, I feel yes, there will be a few global payment coins that very much are the foundation of our society. I don't think we're going to be transferring from Nano to Litecoin to Bitcoin. There will be solutions for that, for sure, where we can have these really seamless changes, but I don't think it's going to be necessary. I think people are going to start to flock to a couple main ones, and you can already see that right now. Bitcoin is the main one, and then if you like privacy, great, go for Monero. If you like speed, great, go and feeless, go for Nano. So there's already people are migrating towards these ones that have been kind of holding the pillar in their own area. And again, Monero is certainly not the best privacy coin out there, but it's one that's been around for a long time. And so you can even see in crypto, in this sector of mass revolution, even branding is important. Let's see if there's any more questions. Oh yeah, okay. I'll try to wrap this one up fairly shortly. I'll keep it below half an hour. That'd be great, so people can just tune in and get a quick pointer. Bill says, is it possible that politicians' anti-Facebook sentiment might be bad for Libra and by extension, the traditional cryptos? Well, to kind of touch on the last point, Bill, so will politicians' anti-crypto sentiment have any impact on cryptocurrency? I think we've seen a lot of anti-crypto for a long time, and I think it was in 2018 when we saw China said, we're banning ICOs, or crypto's getting banned, and the market crashed and everything's volatile. Again, that was after a massive hype run up, and so it was due for a correction anyways. I really don't feel that. Well, let me take my feelings out. Objectively, cryptocurrency cannot be stopped. So whatever these politicians think, whatever they say, whatever they regulate, is almost irrelevant to it being able to continue. Now, that being said, they can put in hurdles and barriers. The US is doing it, China is doing it, Russia is doing it, on ways to slow down or try to regulate or put up barriers to people who are less risk averse. Like, if it's against the law, I'm not doing it. Or, if I'll get a slap on the wrist, I'm not doing it. They can definitely do that. And so if Russia isn't saying you cannot trade Libra or hold it, they're just saying we're not going to support that on like, let's say the exchange was based in Russia, that would be illegal. But if the exchange is based in Singapore, that's fine. Go get yourself some Libra. But to touch on the question, so will their sentiment or the execution have impact on cryptocurrency? Definitely. Because if we look at one end of the spectrum, if politicians all said, crypto is the best, it's the way we're going, we're implementing all these new solutions, or potentially even just stopping regulations or making really lenient regulations, crypto would take off like a rocket so damn fast. But right now, people are tiptoeing. Regulations are not certain. There's a lot of ways to get in a lot of trouble. And so it does have an impact. That being said, it will not be stopped. This is a movement, a revolution. So that's super exciting, but definitely they do have an impact. Unfortunately, that's just the way things are right now. Matthew says, instead of having government in charge of currency, you'll have corrupt CEOs. I see Libra as the start of the same old, same old. Yeah, I would agree with that. Before we looked like it was kings had power and like monarchies, and they'd pass it down from generation to generation. And now it's kind of money that has power. Well, it's not kind of, it is money that has power, much more so than even the governments, because the corporations are lobbying governments and paying them out. And then the governments are writing laws based on the people who paid them. So, you have big oil, big pharma, big tobacco. They're running this shit. And now we have big companies. That consortium is taking over the financial system. I won't say it's scary, but it's going to be, I always like to use the word interesting, because I just find everything is if we can adapt as humans, nothing is scary. We can always kind of be on the positive end or the cutting edge, or to be able to like leverage the situation is what I'm saying. So that's why I find it interesting. Like, okay, so now we're seeing a shift towards corporate control over government control. Isn't that interesting? And how can we as humans position ourselves to be able to adapt to this? Very much cryptocurrency is one of those things. Get out of the government systems. I hope this call isn't being recorded. I didn't say that. Daryl says regulators are out to end altcoins. We already, in my company, have formed an altcoin that will surpass Bitcoin as a utility. Ooh, there's going to be some pushback on that one. Think ahead. Others don't really need to. They have achieved more than they thought they would. So for sure, agree and disagree with some of these points for sure. I think saying that more utility than Bitcoin is a big statement, because payments and transfer of value could be seen as potentially the biggest utility in our world today. So I'm interested to hear what utility that is. And I don't think regulators are out to end altcoins. Regulators are just out for their best interest, really. And I'll end it at that. That's a whole wormhole comment that I don't think I want to dive into. Matthew says, so this is the direct route without the government middleman. Yeah, or at least changing the way that, he says this is the direct route to kind of end the government as acting as a middleman. And I think the government has been elected because there are some things that we just want done for us. We're like, you know what? It's easier if we, how should I put this? Government has a purpose. You know, some people want pension funds. Some people want roads built. Some people want age-old security or disability. Or government is there for a purpose because we're collectively agreeing on a set of ideals that works. And it's not, I don't think it's meant to remove government, but maybe to restructure the role that government has in our society and how hands-on they are. I feel the government these days, well, you vote once and that vote lasts for 4 years, and there's really no way to change it. And the government is based on a promise at the beginning, and then that promise never gets held out. And again, that's something that blockchain could implement, put the promise in smart contract. If you don't uphold it, you're out. That would be cool. I'd love to see that. But I see government still playing a massive role in our economy, in our world, for a very, very long time. What it looks like, though, will always be different. And there's always forms of governance. Even if you live in a house of 4, it's you, your wife, and 2 kids. There's a government there. There's a form of hierarchy, of like a pecking order, a social construct of, there's an understanding that you are going to be subsidizing your children, and your children are just along for this free ride. You could look at, like the Democrats, like, oh, you're just paying for free rides here. It's government or social constructs are everywhere, and it's just going to change. Whether it turns into a decentralized autonomous organization, to be seen, somewhere in between. I think, again, just like cryptocurrency, we have 2 sides of the spectrum, and we're just going to tick-tock back and forth till we find this equilibrium. That's what you see in American politics, like Republican, Democrat. But what I'm excited about with cryptocurrency is that you don't have to tick-tock, because you can choose anywhere you want on that spectrum at any time. That's enough on that. I feel I always rant on that one. Belkacem says, do you think there will be any competition between Ripple and Libra? So what I always like to do is just, like, market mentality is generally pretty smart, and they price things in. And Ripple, from the Libra news, has stayed pretty stable. So people in Ripple don't tend to think that it's going to be a big competition, because it's meant more for interbank transfer. Libra is very much for interpersonal. Ripple, I don't think, was ever designed for person-to-person transfers. There was these big international money transfers between banks. So Libra's initial goal is to just be person-to-person. I'm guarantee they're going to be branching out from there. You have JPM coin. JPM coin, I would say, is a bigger competition to Ripple than anything else. Matthew, he continues. Okay, so Matthew continues his comment after when he was saying, is this a direct route without the government middleman? And he says, kind of. I was talking about companies lobbying and whatnot. Sorry for not typing back to my other comment, but still good. Yeah. Not 100% sure what you're meaning by this comment, but yeah, lobbying is always going to happen. corporations are taking their hands more and more into the state of our world. And um, I think it's going to be great to see how we evolve as information starts to become more readily available for people with the age of the internet and social media. And we're starting to have this kind of quick twitch feeling where we're not okay with waiting for 4 years for an election anymore. There's going to be new systems that are coming into place, and it's going to be interesting to see. Anyways, to kind of end the stream here, we got let's check in on CoinMarketCap. We got Bitcoin at $9,570, up 4.09% in the last 24 hours. We're gonna this is a cruising road all the way to 10K. There's nothing stopping us to 10K, and there's not a chance in hell we're not breaking through. Maybe we test it for a little while, but I am super excited to see us shoot all the way up to 20. There's going to be no resistance on that way. Again, just my personal opinion. Call me out if you don't agree with it. I really don't care. We'll see what happens though. The CI members chart. I've been showing that to you guys. If we look at the CI members chart, when that breaks out, the price breaks out. We haven't seen a breakout in the CI members chart in the last couple days. It's stayed steady over the last week. So maybe there's no breakout coming yet, but let's stay tuned and let me know what you guys think in the comments. And I'll be putting together more of a well-formulated Facebook Libra summary. I'll try to keep it within 5 minutes soon. And have a great day, and see you at 10K.